For 2,000 years, one story has shaped much of the world. Millions of people have made the pilgrimage to Jerusalem, walking the winding path of the Via Dolorosa, believing they're retracing the final, sorrowful steps of Jesus. Their journey ends at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, an ancient church built over the very spot where tradition says he was crucified and resurrected. For centuries, accepting this location was purely an act of faith. The Gospels told the story, but the ground itself held its secrets close. The physical evidence, the proof that could connect scripture to stone, seemed lost to time. But what if the most compelling clues weren't on the path at all, but buried deep beneath it? For centuries, a hidden history in the heart of Jerusalem has gone almost unnoticed. Now, incredible archaeological discoveries are revealing physical evidence that grounds this ancient story in solid rock. What we're about to show you will change how you see this sacred place forever. We're going to journey down, layer by layer, beneath the church to a time when this holy site was something else entirely. We'll uncover clues written in stone and soil that piece together a 2,000-year-old puzzle. Our investigation starts back in the 4th century AD. The Roman Empire, which once executed Jesus, was now led by its first Christian emperor, Constantine. His mother, Helena, a deeply religious woman then in her later years, traveled to Jerusalem around 326 AD. She was on a sacred mission to find the exact place where Jesus was crucified. Local Christian tradition led her to a shocking sight. The spot they honored was buried under a pagan Roman temple, built a century earlier by Emperor Hadrian, likely as a deliberate move to stamp out the growing Christian faith. Convinced she was in the right place, Helena ordered the temple torn down. As workers cleared the rubble and dug into the earth, they uncovered exactly what they were looking for: an old, abandoned stone quarry, a rocky hill that looked like a skull, and a nearby tomb carved from the rock. This was it, Golgotha, the place of the skull, and the tomb where Jesus was laid. On this very spot, Constantine ordered the construction of one of the most sacred churches in all of Christendom, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. But for modern historians and archaeologists, that powerful tradition wasn't quite enough. It left them with a huge question. Was this identification, made 300 years after the crucifixion, actually correct? Or was it just a story, built more on hope than on history? The only way to know for sure was to dig deeper. And for the better part of the last century, that's exactly what archaeologists have been doing. During restorations and careful scientific digs, they've peeled back the layers of history under the church floor. Their first major discovery was literally foundational. Before it was a place of pilgrimage, before a Roman temple was built on it, the site of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was something far more ordinary: a massive limestone quarry. Archaeological work has shown this area was an active quarry back in the Iron Age, probably used for building parts of ancient Jerusalem. By the 1st century, the time of Jesus, it was mostly abandoned. What was left behind was a scarred landscape of rock faces, pits, and one leftover mound of unusable stone. This rocky outcrop, isolated by all the quarrying around it, is what many scholars believe was called Golgotha, a name that probably comes from its skull-like appearance. This one discovery was huge. The Gospels describe a place of execution, and we know the Romans often used grim, abandoned places like quarries just outside the city for crucifixions. Suddenly, the physical landscape revealed by archaeology started to line up perfectly with the biblical and historical accounts. The ground was starting to talk. The quarry was just the first clue. The Gospel of John includes a very specific and what seemed like a contradictory detail. In John 19, verse 41, it says, "Now, in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb, in which no one had ever been laid." For centuries, skeptics pointed to this as a problem. How could a lush garden exist next to a barren stone quarry? It sounded more like poetry than a statement of fact. Then, during a major restoration project that began in 2022, archaeologists from Rome's Sapienza University made a breakthrough. As they lifted the ancient stone floor of the church, they found more than just rock. They found pockets of actual earth. This wasn't just random dirt, it was rich brown soil. Intrigued, the team, led by Professor Francesca Romana Stassola, ran pollen analysis on the samples. The results were stunning. The soil contained pollen from olive trees, grapevines, and fig trees, all dating back roughly 2,000 years. It was proof of a cultivated agricultural plot, a garden. It seems that after the quarry was abandoned, parts of it were filled with soil to make small farming plots. Suddenly, John's Gospel wasn't being poetic, it was being remarkably precise. In a place of death, there was also a place of life. The archaeological evidence hidden for so long now testifies to the Gospel, in the words of Professor Stassola herself. This brings us to the final piece of the story, the burial. The Gospels tell us that Joseph of Arimathea, a wealthy man, took Jesus' body and placed it in his own unused tomb. This implies a specific kind of burial place, not just a simple grave in the dirt. And once again, the archaeology beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre provides a startling match. Within the church complex, several first-century Jewish tombs have been found carved into the rock. These aren't the graves of the poor. They are complex family tombs, specifically types known as archosolia and kokim, which were hallmarks of wealthy families in Jerusalem at the time. The presence of these tombs is significant for two reasons. First, it proves the area was a known cemetery in the 1st century. Second, it shows that the exact type of tomb described in the Gospels, a new expensive tomb owned by a rich man, existed right there in that very spot. The most famous of these, preserved for centuries inside a shrine called the Edicule, fits the description perfectly. This also aligns with a prophecy in Isaiah 53 verse 9, which predicted the Messiah would be with the rich in his death. He was executed like a criminal, but buried in the tomb of a wealthy man. We've uncovered the quarry, we've found the garden, and we've located the tombs. Piece by piece, the evidence is building a powerful case. If you find this journey through history and faith as fascinating as we do, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell. You won't want to miss what we uncover next as we keep exploring the secrets of the past. Now for the critical question that ties it all together. The Bible is very clear that crucifixions happened outside the city walls. But if you visit Jerusalem today, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is clearly inside the walls of the old city. So, how could this possibly be the right place? For a long time, this was the single best argument against the site's authenticity, but it was all based on a simple misunderstanding. The massive stone walls you see today are not the walls from Jesus' time. They were built in the 16th century by the Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. Archaeologists have spent decades tracing the path of Jerusalem's ancient walls. Their findings are conclusive. In the 30s AD, The city's second wall ran in such a way that the site of the quarry, the garden, and the tombs was absolutely outside the city gates. The area was only absorbed into the city decades later when a new third wall was built further out. The very argument once used to disprove the site's authenticity has now become one of the strongest pieces of evidence in its favor. In a bizarre twist of history, Emperor Hadrian's attempt to erase the memory of Golgotha by building a temple over it is actually what preserved it. By sealing the entire site under his massive structure, he accidentally protected the original 1st century landscape from 2,000 years of construction and destruction. He created a perfect time capsule for future archaeologists to unseal. So, what does all this mean? We have a site that was a stone quarry, matching the grim reputation of Golgotha. We have scientific proof of a garden, just as the Gospel of John described. We have 1st century tombs of the wealthy, matching the account of Joseph of Arimathea. And we have definitive proof that this entire location was outside the city walls at the exact time of the crucifixion. These aren't just isolated finds. Together, they create a coherent and compelling body of evidence. They show that the details preserved in the biblical accounts aren't just the stuff of legend, they're rooted in a real, verifiable place and time. For centuries, pilgrims have come to this spot, guided by faith. Today, science and archaeology can walk alongside them, revealing that the ground beneath their feet tells the very same story. The ancient stones of Jerusalem, silent for so long, are finally speaking. They don't force belief, but they offer something profound: corroboration. They invite us to see that one of the most important stories ever told is not just a story, but history. In the words of the ancient psalmist, "Truth shall spring out of the earth, and deep beneath the floor of the church of the Holy Sepulchre it has."
This book is your beginner's guide to understanding Scripture. Find peace, build relationships, and discover purpose in today's world. Ready to decode the Bible? Find Bible Decoded available on Amazon now.
If this content blesses you and you'd like to support our mission, you can buy me a coffee or give a super thanks. Every contribution helps us create more content to inspire and uplift others. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on my future videos.